Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Every Story Counts podcast. Today on the show, we have with us Aaron Temple. You all right, mate? How are you doing?
All good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, sir. Obviously, myself and you go way back, though. We've known each other a long time. As long as I've known you, from you getting expelled from school at a young age.
Yep.
Then after that, you ended up in a psychiatric ward,
Yep.
then into foster care. Then you lost your brother through suicide, and now obviously you're top chef, you know, and you work all the time. I know you do, and obviously you've just had a child and everything. So I think the fact of how much you've managed to change your life around, I think you need a well done to start with, mate.
Try my best.
No, you're doing really well, mate. You are.
Yeah.
And I think, like I say, there's a lot of people who struggle and can't sort of change things. And the people that I've had on, like I say, the similar ones have managed to recover. And you've had hard times, mate, and you've had hard times. You've obviously, I know you've took some wrong turns, and you have in the past. But I think where you are today, you know, obviously we'll get into how much you managed to sort of change your life around from where you were going to complete different angle, and you just moved away. Maybe you just, that was it. You were just gone.
It was carnage to peace.
Yeah, it wasn't it? So right, let's go from the start, mate. So tell us a little about your childhood growing up. What was it like?
So, childhood, council estate, parents, two brothers. Nothing really eventful in terms of pre-primary school. Went to primary school, me and you met year reception, so that was good. And there was nothing really eventful during, the primary school stage. Kids' parties, didn't we?
Yeah.
Anything like that.
I don't know if I can remember. Was your mum and dad together?
Yeah.
When we because I get like glimpses of them together, and then I get glimpses of them. What age did they split apart?
So it would have been when I was, I'd say, 13.
Oh, was it late?
Yes, it was quite. It was late on. It was late on during the years.
So how was it the early years? Did you have a good relationship with your dad? Because I know you had massive fallouts. Was it from a young age you had problems then, family wise, or did it sort of just change as the years got on?
I think there's always a favourite. So you always favourite your mother because you're a boy.
Yeah.
Well, I think so anyway.
Yeah.
Your dad's there, but your dad's working. Your dad gives you the stern word when you do wrong, and that's kind of the relationship that we ever had. Wasn't anything to do with a bad childhood. It's just that's how it is.
Was it same for you? Was it same for your two brothers then as well? Did they have similar sort of relationship with him?
Yes. So my older brother is not longer with us, Dan. He was exactly like me, troublemaker, like messing around in the house. Julian, my older brother, quiet as a mouse. So,
because Julian's really, really different, wasn't he? From the two of you.
He is definitely the black sheep between the three of us.
Yeah, he was a lot different.
Miles different to us. Me and Dan, very similarities, same interests, knocked around with the same people, did the same things, dressed the same,
Would you say what you wanted to be? Like, was he a bit of a role model to you? Would you say growing up?
No, I don't think so. But he knew people I didn't.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I knew you when we were in primary school.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of progress into secondary school, I wasn't with you 24/7 like we used to be. So then you go to a broader group of friends, don't you?
When you think the sort of turning point, when we think of school, obviously you got expelled from school. Why do you think the point was that you ended up taking a sort of wrong turn from that point? Because up until sort of primary school, you wasn't like badly behaved or anything like that. You was absolutely fine. And then we got to secondary school, and then you were seeming to be in trouble a lot on the out as well, as much as you were in trouble on the school. And I know there was a few of you, obviously I'm not going to say names, they're all down the sort of the same line, weren't you? Do you think why do you think that the reason that was, that you took such a turn the other way?
I think it's just a slow progression in terms of mixing with new people. You kind of hang around in a different way. You knock about in different places. You get into things, you see things, and it just kind of change. You don't change, it just becomes a change. And then it progresses from nothing to something very quickly.
How was it with getting your dad with that then? So when you were getting in bother all the time, was that putting like a massive strain on because obviously your brother as well, Dan was not.
He was no angel.
He was not an angel as well, was he? So do you reckon that put a lot of strain on family wise then from how you both was?
Yeah, because you got to think that maybe my dad was at work all day to come home to find one of us arrested, or in bother or expelled, excluded. And then obviously your attitude changes towards your parents answering back, which we didn't do when we were kids. And it just all becomes something completely different.
So when you look at, obviously I know you had like I say, massive fallouts with your dad. The stuff that went on with your dad, do you take a bit of a blame with how the relationship sort of went? Or do you think there was things that you sort of did that you look now as a dad yourself and you think, I wouldn't really react like that, I'd maybe try it a bit differently, I don't know why you did that?
I've got an 8-month now, and he, what if he acted the way I did, you taken down the correct course, you wouldn't, kick and scream and shout. You're not allowed to beat your kids anyway, so obviously we got a clip round the ear when we were younger, and that was classed as the norm. But I think looking back, I'm not too sure how I'd react to it.
Did that grow you to have a lot of resentment towards him then, at that time?
Later. A lot later. And not during primary school. It would have been in my teens, then the resentment came.
So while that was all going on, what was your mum like with that? Was your mum sort of at him and like, you can't do things out? Or was your mum down the same sort of line? She didn't know what to do with you?
I think their arguments were behind closed doors. I didn't hear anything, so...
That might have been better for you, to be fair.
For sure, yeah. It wasn't really a squeamish household, So it was all behind closed doors. Whatever they said, they spoke. They split up when I was maybe 13 or 14 anyway, so... Right,
because obviously at school-wise, you was always quite intelligent. You was never stupid or all that.
No.
You was always, so all the trouble that you were getting on the out was obviously then coming into school as well.
For sure.
What year was it you got expelled at?
It was year 11. It was week 3 of year 11.
Right.
And I remember, I remember small little points, to exact dates, but it was week 3. On the first day of my year 11, I think I was put in isolation on the first day.
And what went on from there?
So I remember.
What did you get expelled for?
So I think it was day 1. Jack Walker.
Yeah.
I was in English with Jack Walker. You remember him from? Yeah, we go back a long time. I think Jack Walker did something funny in English or geography. The English teacher or geography teacher, whatever it was, went into his bag to get his school planner out. And I turned over in a cheeky way and I said, I tell you what, if you went through my bag, I will kick you in the neck, out, straight out the classroom. I was put in isolation for, I'd say, a good 2 weeks. The deputy had said to me 2 weeks in, they said, you can go for your lunch and you go for a cigarette and come back, but be quick. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I go have my lunch. He followed me into the dinner hall. I said, I'm just going to go for a cigarette and then I'll come straight back in. After I finished my cigarette, I went round to the emo corner, we used to call it. Half a house brick was on the side of the on the pavement. I picked up half the house brick and threw it into a crowd of at least 40 people. Cracked a teacher on the head. I didn't know this. So anyway, I go back to my 4th lesson, but he said, you can go back to your lessons now. I didn't know why. I was like, fair enough. Went to my 4th lesson just after lunch. About 10 minutes in, I look at the door and there'd be a little thin crack of glass. Head teachers just stood there.
Did you know straight away you're thinking it's for you?
Yeah, it must be for me. There's nobody else here who messes around like me. So anyway, off a pub, down to the office, out, and that was me.
Is that what he literally turned around and said?
Out.
He didn't explain anything about it. Like there was
knew.
Did you?
I knew.
It was straight away out.
I knew straight away, immediate.
Do you know what you look back though? You're quite lucky you didn't really hurt him.
Oh yeah, do
you know what I mean? You look back at some of the stupid things you do, and you look back at that instant. That could have been life changing for you and for him.
Yeah, apparently I cracked him right on the eye, so. Just on the eyelid, cracked me straight on there.
I can't imagine you two be going for a beer anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
Do you think sort of school failed you then yourself? I know before that, I know you were getting involved. Do you think they took sort of a wrong route with you, or do you think everything was down to? Was everything your own fault?
Definitely my own fault. I think school did try and help you in certain ways. If you didn't really understand anything, you could ask. It depends what sets you're in, you know. I was in set 5 for some things, set 1 for some things, you know, this, that, and the other. I was good at some things. It depends what the interest is.
I think the only thing for me that I remember about our school was if you were right at the top, if you were clever, they put a lot of effort into you.
Yeah.
If you were in trouble a lot or they didn't think you were going to get good grades,
It wouldn't help you.
they weren't bothered about you.
No.
All they're bothered about nowadays is how good a grades you get to how much money they can get back and things, and to how good the school can look.
Aye.
And people that I think are having problems and things like that, they don't really give a shit about,
No.
if I'm totally honest.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
What sort of trouble were you getting on the out then? So obviously I was in school.
Yeah.
What was it going on the outside?
Everything you could ever think of.
So you were getting really involved. What sort of stuff were you doing?
That was a slow burner in terms of criminality. I only really, you know, I got arrested a lot of times when I was younger. Sickening amount of times. Can I remember the first 3 arrests, and it shows the progression of where we're going.
What was your first one?
So my first one was petty shoplifting.
Right.
And then my second one was multiple shops in shoplifting.
Right.
And the third one was emptying a shop.
I remember actually, now you've just said that, I remember a shop I remember going in one day and I looked on the side, they'd been having a lot of thefts in the shop of people going from like our ages going in and stealing stuff and stuff like that. And I remember they put a photo up of you. It was like loads of people have been doing it. And next thing I remember going in one day, looking to the side of the shop window, there's your face there. It was like a band thing, and I was like, oh dear, oh dear. Do you think that's where it came from then?
Yes, it was just like a slow burner. Obviously later on, you know, we went into a bit deeper scenarios from any kind of criminality arrest that you can get. Where we went through the full job lot.
So did you ever think that at one point you were going to sort of end up in prison?
Yeah.
Is that where you thought he was going?
Yeah. I reckon from the age of 13, either I'd be in prison or dead by 18. Never thought I'd get this far.
What was the sort of the changing point then? Was there a sort of something that sort of flicked? And obviously we'll come to an end, but there was a sort of a situation because you were so wrapped up with other people that were getting in trouble. How did you manage to sort of take yourself out of that? Because there might be people watching this or family members that are going down the same thing. How did you manage to take yourself out of the problems that you were in?
It only stopped when I went into foster care.
What age was that at?
That was at 16.
What was the age that you went into the psychiatric ward?
15.
So how did you end up in there? What was the problems that then took you into there?
That was so I ended up in that ward through drugs and suicide.
What you attempted suicide? I didn't even know that myself.
That's why
I didn't even know it was drug. But is that how bad it got at that time? Was that one suicide attempt, or was that multiple you've been doing? It
was something which was not to my knowledge. I remember the day before I ever went there, I decided to eat a full box of Valium for a laugh.
Wow.
A full box. And it didn't send me to sleep. It kept me awake, but I don't have any recognition of what happened during that night and that evening. Just little flashbacks, but nothing specific, just walking down the street. I remember waking up, no phone. Apparently something happened really bad on the night time, can't remember. Lost my girlfriend at the time. And then I just automatically decided to, you know, as many painkillers as I possibly could and just rammed them down my neck.
From that then, so obviously, how did that work to get in? Did somebody sort of ring them, or how does it work even into getting in there?
So what happened was, I went into hospital and my dad refused me to come home.
Is that what he did?
That's what happened.
So do you think that was a big reason why you had your problems like you did?
For sure. That's where the resentment came.
Right, that makes sense now.
So there I am in hospital. There was nothing, like I couldn't go home. He banned me from coming home. And I got sat down with the psychiatric and a nurse and everything. And I said, look, you got 3 options. I said, we can move you into like a shed house, you know, like a crack house almost.
Yeah, which
on benefits,
just not where you want to
on
be.
job seekers. I said no, thank you. They said we can move you into the care of the authority. I kind of knew what that was, and that was kind of a green light for me. And then the third one was I can't remember what the third one was. There was three options.
Probably just let you walk out of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So they give me three options, and there and then I said, "Oh, care of the authority." Prior to that, I had been in a children's home just because of certain things that I did, and I wasn't allowed to go back home. A certain brother decided to tell on me to the police for a pretty big fire that I created. So I wasn't allowed to. I was in a children's home for a small part of time. And then I kind of thought that the care of the authority was children's home, but it wasn't. It was foster care.
Right. What age did you go to a children's home? What was that?
It'll be 15.
Right.
15.
So literally all started around that point, didn't
Rapid,
it?
yeah.
It was like a real
It was-
like I see what you mean now by a slow burner, and
It
then
was a slow burner, and then it rapid. Anything from 13 to 16, everything was very eventful.
So what was, you talk about obviously psychiatric ward. What was that like being in there? What was your first sort of experience straight in
Do
there?
you know what? It sounds as bad as it, as bad as it is. It was all right. It was. I met some good people in there. It was basically just almost like a house. It felt like a house. Everyone had different problems, and there was a team there surrounding you, just to kind of, and you just did normal things. It must have been about May time when I was there. We go out in the field, play rounders together. I'm rubbish.
Right. I was thinking, because you imagine it as one of these places.
Padded up,
Yeah, what you see on TV.
No. It wasn't a padded up cell, with people shitting on the walls. It was just a normal house, and the front door was open. You could leave.
So it wasn't as much like a punishment sort of thing. It was.
No, it was just trying to get you better. It was just trying to keep you, healthy, keep you off the drugs, keep you from self-harming yourself. So you were watched on the night time just to make sure that you were all right.
What was like your room like that you slept in?
It was just a bed and a wardrobe, basically.
Right. So how long were you in there for?
I'd say around maybe 1 to 2 months.
Did you know, did they give you when you went in there, did they sort of say like, does it work of, you'll get out at this time, or is there any sort of time frame, or is it just, no, you're in there, we'll let you know when you come in?
It was time framed. Yeah, it was time framed.
So like a sort of prison sentence that you're going to get out on that day, you knew you were getting out then?
Yeah.
Would they have knocked it back if anything had happened? Would there any way they would have changed it?
Yeah. If you're unwell and I wasn't really unwell when I went in. I had a wild time. It was like a storm, and then I'm just trying to relax.
So in there would that say for you that was the change for you when you were in there?
Yeah.
As in, because was it not long after that then you went to foster care?
Yeah, it was on leaving day. That's when I went in.
So would you that time when you were in there that you sorted your head out and everything like that, was that the clearness that you needed of, right, this is what I need to do now?
Yeah, because everything prior to that was drug fueled. It was criminal. I was getting arrested every other day. There was stuff that we shouldn't even think of doing. That's what we're doing. So it was just a whirlwind of stupidness. And then obviously when you're being removed from there, you kind of got nothing. You got no one to egg on, or you got no one to impress.
How did it feel, them sort of people that, like, say you were involved with, how did it feel getting out, having not to speak to them? Did you were them people trying to get in touch with you, saying, oh, come on, Aaron, let's get involved with this and stuff like that, or did you not really have that?
No, not really. But I moved away. I did associate with them still, but nothing to the extent that we're doing. Nowhere close.
Do you know what? I think that was, from an outside look, I remember you sort of moving away. And there's so many people that now are getting to bother, and the best thing that they could possibly do is move away. They don't. I know people that are big problems, and they just won't move. They can't bring yourself, and you're like, just go.
Yeah,
you need to take yourself out of the situation, and people don't. And like, you look at yourself. I remember when you obviously went into foster care, all you used to do is work and play on the PlayStation. That is it. That is all you did.
Just isolated myself.
And you did that really well. What was it like? How did it work then going into foster care? What was the procedure going?
You kind of do a bit of paperwork, and then you didn't get a pick, didn't get who, didn't get where, and on my leaving day of the unit, I just moved there and then got into a car, got dropped off. This is your family.
And what was that like meeting them?
I wasn't really nervous, to be fair with you. It's changed. It's completely changed. But it was they did an amazing job for me. Like they did brilliant, as good as a parent would. But then being there with them, I never had to do anything that I did prior. I just just put my head down and just kept quiet.
Did they have some like rules when you went there?
No, not really.
Was it a case of do you think did they know your background? Have you been with trouble, or did you come in there like a complete? They knew nothing about you.
They knew small parts, but not every single detail. And I didn't tell them every detail either, because people judge in terms of like if I told them a story of mine, I reckon she would have jumped out the window.
So what was it like? Is it a case of when you meet them, was it like like, hi Aaron, nice to meet you, this is where you sort of stay? How does that thing sort of work?
Yeah. You kind of just welcomed into the family. Yeah, you have your own bedroom. They kind of push you to enroll into college, or they enroll you to start a gym, start a sport, to try and encourage you to do something, then sat in your room.
Was that something that you wasn't used to in a nice way?
Yeah, but it was done in a nice way.
The encouragement of trying to push you to be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that something that really helped you?
Yeah, because obviously when I was at secondary school, our Friday night was taking ecstasy.
Yeah.
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 And that's what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't go home and did my homework, and that's what we did. So it's a massive change from finishing college and then, there's your tea, some.
Were you worried about him rejecting you or all that?
No.
Or was that not something that came? What is it that they did for a job? Because they were quite successful, aren't they?
Yeah, and they were. They had quite a large house, as you call it. So they were a well-off family.
What did you learn anything about them in terms of like discipline and stuff like that? Maybe a different approach what they did compared to what your dad did.
Looking back, yes, but at the time, no. You kind of just think that someone's nagging in your ear. But then look at it. If someone was to tell me that information now, you'd take it as constructive criticism.
Yeah.
But looking back then, when you're basically still a kid, aren't you?
Yeah.
When you're 16, you're just like, oh yeah, here we go again.
Was Daniel still living with your dad then?
No. So me and Daniel split ways in different ways when we were younger. He would be in rented like accommodation given by the council.
Do you sometimes look now and think if his life could have possibly been different if he'd have gone with you down the same sort of way?
He did.
Oh, is that what happened?
He did, yeah. So Daniel was homeless, and
Right.
I was in foster care. And I said to my foster parents, my brother's homeless. Can he come live with us for a week? Yeah, of course he can. He was there for 2 years.
Really?
He was with me for 2 years, sharing my bedroom, which week one, helping a brother out was lovely. 2 years later, I'm like, will you go away? So mine and my brother's relationship later from kids is that I tried to help him as much as possible. He was still on drink and alcohol, drugs, and I tried to move him into the career. I'm a cook by trade. I tried to move him on to what I do, so then he could follow me a little bit.
And did he not have the same sort of motivation to do that?
He can cook. He was good. He was really good. His only downside was drinking after work, which in the profession that I work in, alcohol after work and drugs after work is a given.
Is it quite a big thing?
It's huge. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the amount of like cocaine shared around the kitchen, alcohol being drank during the service, abuse, violence. However you take it, that is our life.
What do you think that's down to? Is that down to stress? Because obviously you work a lot of hours.
Yes, so it really depends where you are and who you work with. It's just something. Some people have a mechanism to go through the day, a coping mechanism, for trying to remember things, to chill out a little bit, and it's anyone's poison.
Did they sort of push you to being a chef then? Your foster parents?
No. They asked me what I wanted to do at college. I did bricklaying when I
I
was
couldn't imagine you.
I was shit at it. I can assure you, I could build, nothing. A curved wall, maybe. I was terrible at it. I don't like the outside, even though I spent a lot of my childhood on the outside. But no, I was rubbish at it. No good. So they asked me what I wanted to do. I said, do you know what? I'll give cooking a try. And then I enrolled in college pretty quickly. I enrolled late within my class, so I had to catch up very quickly. In terms of everybody had a second job, everybody was working in a cafe or a tea room or a restaurant, and I just went to college and did nothing. So I kind of had to learn quickly to catch up.
Do you think you fitted in? Was it hard to change from what you were doing, from everything you were doing before, to now sort of being in a college class, from being expelled and you're like, now I need to completely, this is it, I can't mess this up.
No, well, if it did mess up, then it is what it is. But I didn't mess up, and I tried to say, well, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna try harder.
Yeah.
At school you don't need to try harder because you're competing against no one. You're just competing against yourself.
Of course.
And you're competing against yourself again, but you've got other people watching you. So if you cook pasta decent and the next person doesn't, then who's better? So it's just a big. You're a laughing stock if you do it wrong.
How many years were you at college?
Just a 3. I kind of just did it. So back when I was at college, you got, I think, £20 a week incentive, and then that was it. I just did the 3 years because I remained in foster care till I was 21.
So were you, for them 3 years, were you unemployed for them 3 years?
No, so I started working pretty quickly into it. I started getting a second job. When I got to my 3rd year, I went to college Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I started working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I wouldn't have a day off. And then when I finally left my foster parents' house and tried to, go on my own way, I felt quite tight that I was there till I was 21. Like, you're an adult, move out. And then I decided I'll work, and then just not really associate too much with people.
Were they down the line at 21 of you needed to be out there?
Yeah.
Were they pushing that of you need to go on now and be doing your own stuff and that?
Yeah, it's by the council as well. The council pushes till 21, and then easily they could have put you in like a shared accommodation. The council, because you got a gold band when you left. Quite a lot of people kind of get a silver band or a bronze band, but you got automatic, you got a gold. But then that would have been the wrong one to do for me, because then I would have been gold band in the council flat on benefits. So I decided not to do that. I decided to, pay rent in a shared house and stuff like that, and then just work your way.
So really, from there, from obviously the college and then working, you were already sort of preparing yourself for these long hours, weren't you?
Yeah.
Because I imagine with cooking, it is make or break pretty quickly, because it is. I imagine the stress you're under at times.
Yeah.
With everything's got to be bang on to a really good standard, in the hours that you work and things like that.
Yeah.
I can imagine pretty quickly you need to get to grips with it.
Yes. So the right early in the early days when I started, it was 90 hours a week. It was
90 hours a week.
90 hours a week it was. And it was for very little money. You got paid next to nothing. It was minimum wage. If you tried to work overtime just to make sure you're ready for the next day, they would remove the extra hours, for pay. So you probably got paid for 60, but you worked 90.
Did you ever get to a point where you were doing it, where you was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I killing myself for this? Or did you see where the goal was going? Did you see what was coming ahead?
It depends really what kitchen you work in. All kitchens are hard. Some are really, really easy, and you think it's a doddle. But when you're going into detailed work, where you're really detailing certain products, you have to think about what you're doing, and it becomes a process. It doesn't really become a thing.
Yeah, I mean, for yourself, I remember, obviously we'll come to when we spoke about your brother. When your brother, I remember we spoke about it around after the time. You're really quite thick-skinned. I remember you saying to me, like, obviously when he died, you said, the only time I really cried is when I went in there and I had to see him, and that was it. Do you use cooking as a bit of an escape from all that? Because you seem so...
It's obsessive.
and with everything that you've been through,
Yeah.
anything that sort of happens, you seem to bounce back pretty quick.
Yeah.
You don't let anything sort of hang over you. Like,
No.
that's what's happened. I'm cracking on.
Yeah. That is it. That's what I do. I kind of just work 7 days a week and just try not to think about anything going wrong in life.
How do you do it with an 8-month-old? How hard's that now?
It's pretty easy, you know. But I'm not with the mother, so it's
Does that not make it more tough at times?
It does.
Because obviously the times is Aaron when he if you got a boy,
Yeah.
like, when you're seeing him, you know, what days are you off? And you're like, well, I'm not off.
Yeah, I'm not.
Do you have to now do a thing of where you have to make sure you work less to have that time to spend with them, or are you still on the mode of no, go, and I'll just try to work around it?
No, I get about 2 hours a week on a Sunday night,
And that's literally your time off.
and that's what I get.
That's the arrangement they have with seeing him, or that's the arrangement because of work?
No. It's nice that on a Sunday I don't work all day, which is good. I'm not cleaning the floor till 10 o'clock at night. But on a Sunday night, I finish work 4 or 5ish, and I'll see him at 6.
That's an early finish for you as well.
That's an early finish. Like driving home in the daylight, it's wild.
Can you imagine though? Imagine having a child and then coming into Sheffield. You know, for somebody now who's thinking, who've got a young baby, and they might be watching this now thinking, oh, I'm gonna go be a chef. And then there's yourself saying, I was doing 90-hour weeks at the start, and things like that. That is like a single man's sort of job at the start.
For sure.
You can't do that with a family.
I think career-wise, you make loads of mistakes in your career. Who you work with, who you partner up with, everything like that. It seems good at the time, and then it's a bad idea. I work for myself now, so I don't have a boss. I'll go, but basically what I do as a cook now is that I go and help restaurants or friends, dinner parties, anything like that.
Because you cook some quite big people, aren't you?
Yeah. There's been a number of occasions where I've done dinner parties where there'll be some AA people at the table from all walks of life, not just celebrities, wealthy people. But it's, as long as they have a good time, that's all that matters.
You were saying last week, obviously you didn't say, but there were some footballers, weren't there? What was that? You were saying, because you don't even like football, do you?
No, but doing a dinner party for, say, a group of 12 footballers, the bill will be 40 grand easily. A lot of it's on wine, it's not food. There's no food on this earth worth that much money. But yeah, we'll send the main course out, and then said, oh, so-and-so's at that table. I was like, oh, right, yeah. It's just a name to me.
Yeah, you're not bothered, are you?
No, don't like football. Nothing about it. I don't like football. But, I appreciate that they're there. I appreciate it. And to some people, the jaw will be on the floor if they saw these guys. But
might be pressure as well.
It is a little bit, but...
Some people might mess up though, since, for example, if it was me, if I was chef, I seen some famous footballer, I might be like, oh God, I better get this right. And then you're thinking about it too much, whereas for you'll just be going through the motions, won't you?
Just go through a process.
Do they tip quite big, some of these people?
They do, yeah.
Big sort of tips?
Yeah. Someone's monthly wage will be a tip.
How many of you is the sort of a working at one time? Say if you've got like a party of 12, how many would be in the kitchen with you?
And normally for something like that, depending on what type of food they're eating, 2.
Is that it?
Yeah, there's too many hands spoil the pot, if you know what I mean. It's a lot of hand movements. People are in the way. If it's just 2 of you side by side, just helping out, it just becomes easy.
How much is it affect if you're in the kitchen with somebody that you don't particularly get along with?
Massively, because you're away with them for 12 hours or 14 hours.
Have you been in there with people that you are literally like, I cannot stand this person?
For as many years that I've been doing this, I'm pretty timid myself. In my younger years, I was a lot more volatile of how I spoke to people, didn't really care. Now I'm really laid back. Any problem, not a problem. Quite a lot of the time, you spend 12, 14, 16 hours a day with someone that you really don't like, and you'll make sure that you put a hot spoon on their table.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can imagine.
yeah, and they go grab it. Yeah.
What's what sort of biggest tip you've seen then?
Throughout my career, I've definitely seen a shooting party leave 20,000 as a tip.
It's a big tip, that.
It's a massive tip, especially in cash. I've seen that being done. A certain individual bring £1 million with him for betting at a certain place, and
For betting?
for betting, a high-profile person from overseas
Right.
brought £1 million with him for betting and £1 million for tips. So it's up there.
It's crazy, isn't it? Would you ever think about going and doing it abroad? Or like that? Has that ever crossed your mind? I know it's a bit harder now with
I've done work abroad in my career. It's something that I would have loved to done. If I didn't have a child, I'd be there now.
Where would you have gone?
I would have gone to
Somewhere like Dubai.
yes, Saudi Arabia. I would have gone to Europe. America's a big one. I've had multiple offers for America. For free sponsorship, really 6-figure salary. I've had all the offers. I turned them down. Looking back, terrible idea.
I was about to say, do you regret that?
Oh, it's terrible. I've had such good offers, and every year I get offered really good contracts. I think so the baby situation and family situation isn't quite how I'd like it to be. I do have a little bit of leeway for next year, so there'll be big plans for next year in terms of progression. I've kind of really just gone into working on my own, and I'm just trying to simmer down the diary just so I can slot in what comes next.
I can imagine it's really, really hard, being that busy and stuff. How much in advance do you know where you're going to be from some of these contracts that people are booking?
Months in advance. Obviously, when we had a conversation about coming onto the show, I said, you're going to have to tell me weeks in advance, because I'm, 7 days a week trying to slot people in. I'm kind of like on a bit of a limbo mode at the moment where I'm just doing a little bit at the moment.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we're coming out of summer into Christmas, it's a really busy time for us.
How do you sort of de-stress out after work then? From all them hours, how do you sort of chill out?
Someone asked me this quite a while ago. A lot of people, definitely in my industry, have a pint after work, have a beer, and I just laughed. I said, "Do you know what? There's nothing that I'd rather hate than having a beer." I've been 12 years sober.
Thinking, you were never a big drinker about them. Really.
Never a big drinker, and I've probably had three glasses of alcohol in 12 years from now, and I didn't drink last year. I haven't drank this year, but yeah. Pint of orange juice after work, delicious. It's just nothing really appeals to me in substance.
That's great that you like that.
For a de-stress, nothing. Just go home and just kick your shoes off. Have a pizza and just
That's great that you can do that, because obviously when you're speaking about multiple people seem to have drug problems and alcohol problems work-wise,
it's huge.
That's not something that I thought sort of happened. Obviously, when I think about it, I'm thinking, oh yeah, all them hours at the work, and then you think, how are they constantly keeping up doing it? And that makes sense. I think the fact that you're not doing that is incredible, really. What would you have done if you weren't a chef? Oh. What do you think you'd be doing now if you look at it?
Weirdly enough, when I was in year 10, I was given the opportunity to do website design when I was in year 10 with the sixth form. So I got kicked off that course for being bad behaviour, but website design would have been the one that I would have gone for. I think it must be the creativity side. But yeah, that was probably what I would have done. And if I didn't pick that, I'd have been a brilliant, I would have been in jail.
Well, the thing is about you was, wasn't it? The key thing was straight away is you taking yourself away from everybody else.
Yeah.
That's basically what did you and stuff like that. When was the last time you spoke to your dad?
he sends me messages throughout the years. I'm very, one-sided to it all. I saw him at my brother's funeral. I didn't say anything. I just thought there's nothing that we can have a conversation about.
So the what's happened is done it, and
Yeah,
there's no recovering, is there?
No.
Do you still not have do you still not speak to your brother as well, Julian?
No, don't speak to him. We're just two different people. Again, there's nothing we can have a conversation about. There's nothing similarity that we are. We're not similar. We don't have similar interests. We don't dress the same. We don't talk the same. We don't think about things. We don't think about life the same way. So just leave it.
You're quite down the line, aren't you? I can tell of like anybody that's not going to bring anything positive to your life. You don't want a minute.
Yeah, I'm literally on my own at the moment.
You don't want anybody that's going to bring anything.
Negativity, no.
Do you have a relationship with your mum?
Yes.
You get along with her?
Really good. Yeah.
Does she speak to Julian?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yep.
What it's mental, isn't it? How the relationship that you had when you were younger just changed, and then do you see your foster parents that you went out on? Obviously, you've got a relationship with your mum, so I'm not meaning as in your mum. Do you see them as more of your parents?
I used to, but now, she would have had many foster kids after me, and and we still do speak.
I was about to say, do you have a relationship with her still?
Yeah, I'll send baby photos over, this, that, and the other. But no, it would just be my mum who will speak to now.
I think back then though, that's what you needed, wasn't it?
Yeah,
to think you needed that. You need that love, really.
Yeah,
you needed that love,
yeah.
And I think that's the difficulty in it as a dad as well.
Yeah,
like you go out and you work all the time. You try to provide a better life for your kids, but then at the same time, there is the battle of, am I there enough? Am I been there? And you have multiple conversations with people, and some people say like, my dad was never there. He was at work, but they just see it as you're not there. But someone's like, how are you affording everything that you're doing? Do you know what I mean?
Everything's expensive now.
Oh, it's absolutely mental.
It is. I've definitely noticed in the last, at least, after COVID, I just find the world expensive.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So you just have to double down. Everything that you ever want is just hard to reach for. So we just need to. I always wanted, when my ex told me that she was pregnant, it's not panic. It's just, I need to be prepared. We were together. We just moved in together. She told me she was pregnant. I just changed job. I moved from, I was working in the Dales. I moved, for her, not for her, for us. And we moved into a big house together, and she wanted a lot. She expected a lot. And then obviously there's a baby on the way. I grafted and grafted and grafted as hard as I could to provide. And she walked out 2 months in.
Her loss, mate.
Yeah.
Her loss.
Don't let the dog hit you on the way out.
No, her loss. And I know you're not a very forgiving person in ways, are you?
No.
Once some people made the bed, that's
Absolutely, yeah.
I've just thought of something. Obviously, I'm terrible at cooking. Like, my missus does it all.
Yep.
I just remember you saying then, like, you said, get about, put pizza on side. After you've been cooking all day, I always imagine, like, chefs, you come home and you're cooking some really nice fresh meal and stuff like that.
Nope.
Is that not it is for you? It's the most simplest thing I've been cooking all day and no, I don't want to.
For me, I'm only saying it in my view, I resent food in terms of I won't eat at work. So it could be borderline like an eating disorder. I'd rather do work than sit and have my lunch. So I don't eat at work at all. I won't have breakfast.
You see, just because you're sick of seeing food?
Sick of seeing food. It's like a lot of people come up to you and say, "Oh, what's your favourite dish? What's your signature dish?" I was like, you don't go ask a bricklayer, "What's your favourite wall to build?" You don't ask them that at all.
Yeah, I know
it's the same. It's the same context. So yeah, eat out of desperation, pretty much. I'll go out for a meal with anybody, and I'll sit in and I'll over order the food, and I'll eat what I need to, and I'll leave the rest. But no, the most simplest things, Chicago town pizza. That's it.
That's crazy.
because you spend all day doing it, so it's just like just
You just want to get back and not have to think about a chocolate pizza. And
I just took it
so, I
straight.
mean, I just imagine chefs
take away.
Top chefs you'd be back and you'd be cooking really fresh food all day.
No, but no, because like even in restaurants, staff food is gloop compared to what we serve to the diners. But we'll jazz it up and make it a laugh and see how spicy we can get our food, and but it's not really nutritious.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's crazy. Bit of a tough one now we'll come on to regarding your brother.
Yep.
How long ago was that?
So my brother went, I'd say, in 2018, 19.
Right, how old was he then?
23, 24.
Do you remember what it was like when you found out?
Yes.
Can you talk us through that?
Absolutely. So I remember being this was at a stage where I worked a lot and I was knackered. People generally talk to me around 11 o'clock or 12, and I have to go to bed at 12. I don't answer the phone after 12. My phone rings in the middle of the night. It would have been about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I look at the phone and I'm like, no, it must be a fire alarm going off or whatever. And the phone rings again. And then the third time I was like, I'm going to have to see who it is. And it's one of his best mates. And he's up there with people. Like he's, he's up there. And he won't ring me like ever. So I pick up the phone and I said, what? And all I hear is a melting cry. And I said, what's wrong? He goes, your brother's dead. And anyway, after a short conversation, can't really recall what was said within that conversation.
Shock. He'd have been in shock, wouldn't he?
For sure.
Yeah.
Your ears cancel out whatever's been said. Anyway, I accepted it, but no emotion. Anyway, a few days go by, coroners come into it.
So you didn't even break down at that point?
Nope, not all.
Did you literally, you was like, right, that's happening, straight back to sleep, more or less?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, went back to bed.
Right.
Anyway, the coroner's letter comes, details come that he was at Lancaster Infirmary. And I didn't drive back then. And I set off from the coast to Lancaster as early as possible, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And every delay possible could happen. Every train delay. And the infirmary shut at 5, and I got there at 5 to. And I planned out that I was going to be there hours earlier. I walk into the coroner's. I walk into the infirmary where the mortuary is. Speak to the guy. Said, "I'm really sorry I'm late." And he goes, "Okay, well, we'll get you through." And I said, "Just open that door, walk down the corridor, and he's in the room on the right." And I imagined it like it would be on TV.
Yeah.
Where it'll be cracked glass where you couldn't see through it. Yeah. You'd have to walk around it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And I didn't expect it. And it was just a glass. It was just a window. And I seen him. And all I can remember is screeching. Which is impossible for me to do.
Right.
And it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Do you think you still struggle from that now?
That's all I think about. Is that time when I turned my head and I seen him, on the bed. So anyway, I walked into the room and I spoke to him. I talked to him. Said what I think. Never cried once while I was there. Didn't think about it. I was just saddened that he was there. He was definitely away. He was definitely gone. Cold from the fridge. Held his hand, which I would never do. You'd never hold his hand. Me and him like cats and dogs. But when it comes to a certain moment like that, it's up there. So anyway, said my goodbye and I walked out. And I think when I was walking back to the train station, uncontrollable of crying. I've never felt heartbreak like it. And me and him were like cats and dogs.
I can imagine as well, it's not something you recover from, is it?
No.
Let's be honest. Would you just say, is it something you get used to dealing with the grief? And that's it.
Yeah, you deal with it.
Do you ever look back and regret going because of the flashbacks from it, or is it something you're glad you've done?
I'm glad I did it. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. And I always remember, as someone told me years ago, they said, if you walked into a room full of everybody, if everybody you've ever met in your life, family, friends, whatever, who do you go looking for? And I went, my brother. Out of anyone. That's who I go see.
Like I say, it's really sad as well to the fact of you were even living together for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see any signs of him really struggling with mental health?
No, never saw that part of him. He was very, up to that point, he was fueled on cocaine and alcohol. But I saw the cocaine and alcohol. But that's just a thing from when we were kids. It was drugs and alcohol. It's just, he just carried on the party. But I never saw the suicidal part. The reason why he killed himself was when he was drunk, he used to beat his girlfriend.
Right.
And he couldn't live with himself for doing that because he couldn't change.
Was that sort of, so when he did it, was that a thing when he was sober? When he'd done it the next day, or was that sort of a thing he was drunk, he'd done it, and then always
Drunk.
He'd done it,
Yep.
drunk, and then after he'd done it, he couldn't deal with the fact that he'd done it.
Apparently, I don't know the full details, but it was over a time frame where he would do it multiple times. And then I think one day he's a threatened to kill himself all the time, and no, don't do it, and then he did it. He said he sent the messages, I'm going to kill myself right now. I wish I found the messages. It's something that I wish I found, but I never got.
What, he never sent you the message yourself?
No, he never sent me them. He didn't speak to me about it. He'd speak to his girlfriend about it while she'd be at work on the night time or whatever. But yeah.
Do you think she never believed that he would do it then?
I think it's due to the fact that it's drugs and alcohol. People say a lot of things.
Yeah, so she thought he's just saying he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people turn around and say, don't they? The ones that say, that don't say it, the ones that do it, they often say the ones that do say it are not going to do it.
It's just a boy cried wolf, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. How has it changed your mental health since then?
I try not to think about using mental health as a thing in my life. I try and deal with certain things in different ways to try not to point fingers at certain situations, what's ever happened.
Right. Do you think you would, do you think if you ever got to the point where you were struggling, you would speak out? Because you are you are so with your feelings.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Do you think you would?
Yeah, I think you sit and think about it first and review what's happened and then kind of deal with it from there. Everything's fixable though, in my opinion. Everything that I've ever come across is fixable. Whether you lose your job, you're financially unstable, any substance that you've ever been with, you can fix it.
Do you think people can ever fully recover from mental health?
No.
Or do you reckon it's something that's always there?
I reckon it's something at the back of your mind. But it's something that, like I've seen from a lot of your podcasts, mental health play in everybody. And I can see the trend of, and it's not just fitness, because I see a lot of it's fitness, people going to the gym, people feeling better.
Keeping busy as well.
Keeping busy, I think
that's
it
what
is.
I say. 100%. Having a focus and a goal.
Yeah.
And a big fact, a lot of people I've spoken to obviously been on is it's been revolved around drugs and drink. A lot of them have struggled from. There's either that or some trauma.
Yeah.
There's always something, and you've got to be able to do something. You've got to be able to go out, and if that's going to the gym or being a chef and doing 80-hour week.
It's just keeping busy.
You've got to, I think, you have too much time on your hands and stuff like that. How has it changed for you then in terms of fatherhood? How much has that changed you as a person in the last 8 months?
It's interesting. It's definitely not the way I planned it to be, and it's not. But nothing's ever perfect. But in terms of, it's quite euphoric love that you have for a child.
Yeah, you do.
It's very different to, and you kind of have a little bit of patience. Obviously, he's nowhere near walking. you know, he's trying, and you can really, you can look into him a lot deeper than any other child. Like
Yeah,
he's yours.
yeah, yeah. I feel that myself. What is he? What drives you on more than now?
For sure, because like I would have like I had a child later on, you know, in terms of our generation
Yeah,
compared to your parents'
yeah.
generation, you know, my mum had all three of us by 21.
It's crazy.
That is impossible. That is
Yeah.
impossible at this time of year. You know, it's impossible. I had mine at 31. I had 10 years later.
Yeah.
And I think it was a perfect time. Just in terms of career-wise, financially stable, really like doing good. You know, not misbehaving. That's kind of what anything that a child brings, whether it be a time or you know money wise or you know relationship wise, it's fine.
It's a different love that
Yeah,
until you have kids, you realize the love and it just changes you as a person. It
yeah,
does. It completely does. Are you proud of yourself? I think you should be. Are
I
you
think
proud?
so.
Do you feel proud?
Yeah, I think everything that I've done, I wouldn't change in terms of in all aspects. I think I've had a good crack at life and career, and there's more going forward. So obviously, having a child, I want to move on to doing something a little bit different in the same field of career, but doing things a little bit more for me, rather than working in a restaurant environment, that type of stuff.
So you've got big plans coming in the
Yeah, I do.
future.
Yeah, there's lots of directions that I can take in terms of work, but it's something that I feel that I need to do now. Obviously, for the last 10 years, you're just going through a process.
Mm.
You're just going through. You're just kind of learning what not to do.
Yeah, and what works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Cheers.
I think that it's really pleasing to see you, mate, because I think from a young age, not many people have much hope for what you do.
Absolutely not.
I don't think anybody thought you'd do anything. So I think for yourself, you know, people watching this who may be struggling and things like this, listen, nobody had any hope for this guy here,
Absolutely not.
who's now, you know, flying, doing really, really well. And, you know, and it just shows by working hard, getting your head down, doing the right thing. And what I like about yourself is taking yourself aware.
Yeah.
Just taking yourself aware.
Yeah.
I think that it shows that it works, because the amount of people, like I say, when we spoke of, you say to people, just go, and they won't go. And this is what you need to do. You took yourself out of where, you know, you had foster parents, you were in a psychiatric ward, and then you're having to fend for yourself. You know, at 21, it was a case of, like you said, you know, you had to sort of be out, and you're massive jumps for yourself. You had to fend for yourself very quickly, and the amount of knockbacks you've had, and obviously regarding your brother, and you've had to deal with that, and to still be kicking on now, where you say it's a massive thing in cooking with drugs and alcohol, and you don't go down any of that. Everything in your life is revolved around working, and now your son and the future ahead. And you know, just keep down that line for yourself. The only thing I would say is, if you ever need to speak about where you are struggling mentally and things, make sure you do, mate. If you know, if you have to give me a message or anything, give me a ring. You know, I'm always there, and you can always talk to me. I don't want you feeling like you have nobody to speak to, because, you know, just a man don't mean you're some sort of tough person because you speak out and things like this. You know, I had on previously on, you know, Jimmy Sweeney, you know, who's the most decorated bare knuckle boxer in the country, you know, and he was speaking about obviously things that has gone on with his family and things like that. And he was saying, just because you're a tough guy, what does that mean? You can't talk out, you know, no good if you don't talk out, and then you end up dead.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a family to think of and everything like that. So, like I say, I'm always here in case you need anything, mate. So, like I say, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're a very, very busy man.
Thank you.
And stuff like that. So, listen, you're always welcome to come back on whenever, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, Ed, mate.
Yeah. Big things coming up.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers. Thank you.